Hello again, everyone. It is time for another episode of the Community Connection Show, the show that brings you positive stories and encouraging news as we interview top leaders in every sector of the community. And now, here is your host, national speaker and best-selling author, Ryan Sauers.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Community Connection Show with Ryan Sauers. I'm super excited to have my friend and colleague, Commissioner Jasper Watkins, with us today. Commissioner Jasper, how are you doing, my friend?
All right, Ryan. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. And you and I have known each other long enough to know I won't even mention technology because it's just like a foregone conclusion. But in the state, I was asking you a little bit before we went on air, and I kind of want to jump into voting in general and some things like that down the road. So don't let me forget that question. But for people who don't know you, and your background is an impressive one, you want to take a minute and remind people your background?
Well, sure, and I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm when people say a simple guy, I can say primarily I am. My parents basically had and my sister were raised outside the United States. My dad was in the military. So we were raised 5.5 years in Germany and 5.5 years in Japan. And in between that, back and forth from overseas. So my first taste of basically the United States and our system came in 1975 when my father moved us back to the United States. And I think my first taste of civil obedience was my voting for the first time, turning 18 in 1976, when I guess that was the Carter election.
Yep.
And being a part of that. And then I had an opportunity to go to West Point. And instead, I picked pharmacy school at Florida A&M University. Now, that upset my father quite a bit. But he eventually got over when I became a lieutenant colonel, and he was like, okay, so you did the same thing.
Yeah.
He just did it a different way.
Yep.
And so I did 25 years in the military with my kids and my wife, and, got out, worked several years as the director of pharmacy in Florida, and then got my pharmacy legs back here at the VA Pharmacy Center doing hematology oncology, and decided it's time for me to have my own business. I was lucky to retire at 47 in the military.
Wow.
So I had time, and started my own business, and then went from there with consulting and this thing of helping other people. I think that's always been my calling, is helping other people and overlooking those barriers that we think make us different, but we're actually more alike than we care to believe.
I'm just going to throw something out there. I was telling some students I was teaching the other day, this word unite and untie are the same letters, but we focus so much more on what unties us than what unites us. And I know from knowing you well, your focus area is on the first one. What unites us?
Oh, definitely. Every time I go out, I try to take a negative of what someone doesn't like, and I try to turn it into a helping positive, saying, if you had an opportunity, how would you do it? And if you were telling me, how would you suggest that I do it? And it diffuses so many conversations that I have, because now it's like, oh, you're really asking me? You're the elected official. I'm like, no, you elected me.
Exactly.
I'm even if you didn't vote for me, you voted. So you elected someone for the position. And that means that I'm accountable to you and to every other constituent in District 3. So yes, your voice does matter. And you asking me this question matters, but let me flip it back. If you had an opportunity to be king or queen for a day, what would you do different? And I try not to debunk them by saying, oh, you don't have the budget, or you don't have the people, I said, you know what? Let me cook that a bit. Let me let it simmer, and I'll get back with you. They appreciate that.
They do. you know, when you throw it on its head, I call it like what if, as if thinking, blank sheet of paper. What would you do? And most people, they don't have an answer. And I said, well,
No.
I mean, what would you do? And so your pharmacy background, I've always been impressed with your military background. And I remember that was, you know, we don't want to spend because, you know, now we're 4 years, but that was a huge thing. Well, I remember you saying your pharmacy background as you guys were first elected and right during COVID.
Yes. And I tell you, being a part of this team that I'm on today and having that experience that I had in the military and also in Florida, you got to remember, I was during the H1N1.
Oh, that's
You
right.
know, I was part of that in Florida, making sure that the Floridians, you know, received their Tamiflu. I mean, we had a big epidemic on that. And, you know, I took everything I did from that and what I had learned from working with SARS in the military and brought that to Gwinnett County and made sure that our chairwoman and our other board of commissioners were aware of some of the things that are pertinent to what we're doing. And I think that like grew into the immunization center that we bought when we got the old Sears building at Gwinnett Place Mall. And we set up the first ever immunization station. And believe it or not, Ryan, I was there the first 2 days.
Is that right?
And the first day out there, you knew I was going to get it. That's such a stupid idea. Who's involved in this? Who charged this? Who did this? And I walked around the corner. I am. Oh, well, I want you to know that, yes, I think this was done well. Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
Right. Changes your tune when you see the person, right?
A 6 foot coming to you. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
No. But you know when you know when you said that, and I mean, you and I've been around a while. H1N1, you know, going back in my memory bank, yes. SARS, yes. So you know what you're saying is your his history and your learning experiences all helped you in a time that some of you guys came in and were, I guess, was it 2020?
Yeah,
Everybody wearing
yeah,
masks and trying to
yeah,
communicate, figure out how to
yeah.
do
We
business.
came in. It was crazy. I mean, you have to think about it, Ryan. We did something that no one has ever done before, and that is we ran a county with a budget over $1 billion behind plexiglass and masks. And I'm telling you, the resiliency of our constituents, Gwinnetians were the best. I think we were paramount in what I feel and what the country needed to emulate and model because everything about what we did followed science, but followed common sense as well. So we had a blend of both. We didn't discount anything. And you had so many different groups and organizations that were willing to assist. And we, getting those federal dollars, made sure that we provided that to those individual nonprofits and other organizational groups. And I think that's very important because Ryan, we didn't give no money back.
I know.
We gave no money back. We used every last bit of it, and we did it all for the right reason.
Yeah, you and I've talked over the years about teamwork and the bringing people together, but it was tough. I mean, we go back 4 years of time when you're wearing a mask and you can't even see somebody's face, much less leading a group, a bunch of people that are trying to work together in an unprecedented situation. Because it's easy now, 4 years later, to say, well, that was this or that. Well, that's great. Hindsight's 2020, but it was a bunch of unknowns and the leadership was outstanding, which I would guess that led your peers to even develop a stronger early relationship.
Yes, it did because it was one of those where you could hear about it, but you couldn't actually physically see it. But you know what? I have to take our hats off to our Gwinnett County employees. They were, I mean, phenomenal. The over and beyond, you can't compare. The over and beyond that our employees showed to our constituents was far from just monumental. I mean, I couldn't even get enough adjectives to say those folks did more, Ryan, for Gwinnetians than I've ever seen. I mean, it was almost like we were in battle mode.
Mm-hmm.
They were there. let me tell you, Gwinnett County employees are battle tested.
Mhm.
So bring on another COVID. We're ready.
Yeah.
We know how to do this.
And what's the population now of overall Gwinnett? I mean, I
I
know,
think it's over 1.1 mil now.
I mean, is that the biggest, it's almost the biggest county in Georgia?
Well, it depends on who you talk to, Ryan, and what time of the
Right,
day.
right. Okay. That's a loaded
They'll
question.
say, you know what? They'll say Fulton, but I do believe it's Gwinnett. But when you look at our districts, Ryan, District 3,
Yeah.
sizably, is, if it was a city, it would be the second largest city behind Atlanta.
I know, because let's talk about that. So how roughly big, you'll know that's District 3, because I don't even know that.
Oh yeah, we have almost about 280,000
Wow.
or more people. We stretch from Decula to Lawrenceville to Loganville to Grayson to Snellville, and then parts of Centerville.
That's
So
right.
we cover that whole swash of the east side,
Mm-hmm.
north and southeast side of Gwinnett, and we're that more rural side of Gwinnett. So when you look at our statistics and everything, Ryan, we're more of that rural as more than suburban.
Sure. Yeah, I was just, I was thinking that's just, something. And I tell you what, I kind of want to pivot to this. It's so important right now, Jasper. You and I touched about it before, but what do you say right now to the person? We're talking about early voting and election day and local, and it's so important in our backyard. But they get so caught up in talking about Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And I mean, I get it, but I mean, what are you saying to your local voters, or the people say, I'm just fed up with it all. I'm not going to the poll.
What I do is I try to show them how their vote does matter. And I give them small vignettes. I'll say, hey, okay, say for instance, we were going to take $4 more from your taxes because we wanted to make our stop signs now purple. Well, if you voted, you could actually tell me, no, I don't want my tax dollars used that way. But if you didn't vote, you don't have a voice.
Right.
And I can find out if you voted or not. It's on the rolls. So your vote is your voice. Your voice is your vote. They go hand in hand. And you just can't expect someone to take you seriously if you didn't take your own piece of what goes on in your life seriously. And I relayed that to them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm trying to get my mind around. I keep hearing this too, Jasper. You're right. I'm going to sit this one out. Well, what does that actually accomplish? You're going to just have a negative minus for you doing nothing? I mean, I don't know what that actually means, because I don't know what that, if everybody's, that's their philosophy.
I think it's, you've heard that term tossed around now, Ryan, called low information voters. They always put a label on people that just don't want to pay attention. But I get into my vignettes whereby I said I may not have liked some of the ideas that President Reagan had or President Bush had, but I was a soldier in the United States Army, and they were commander in chief. And if they said you go and attack that hill, I had faith in my commanders that they would develop plans that would make it safe for me and my soldiers.
Mm.
Well, I pivot that to our great county. We're given a budget. We take money from areas and from people, and now they're counting on us, to be good stewards. And they hold us accountable. But Ryan, if you don't vote, how can you hold me accountable? You can't hold me accountable if you have not fulfilled your civic duty. And I tell people like that. I said, if you want to keep me in check, vote.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to be a loose cannon, then just sit back and complain, because social media doesn't vote. The people vote.
No, and I love what you're saying, because you when you say your guy puts politics aside. I mean, what I mean is, you use Reagan or W. Bush. I mean, you're putting your life on the line. I mean, it's
Yes,
not
you
like,
are.
I don't really agree with that policy. Or I'm sure when you were in Florida, you were working across with all parties and all people.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I worked closely with um uh, uh Governor Scott, very close with him as his chief pharmacist. So I mean, when you get into the boardroom, you go up to the C-suite, you just need to make sure that you have the people who put you there,
Mhm.
keep them in mind because they have you there for a reason. That's what Governor Chris told me that. He said, you may be from a different party than me, Mr. Watkins, but the people of Florida are counting on you to make sure that their drugs are being delivered safely.
And here, when the show comes out, I hope every community, District 3, Gwinnett, but every community watching remembers that. I mean, we get so caught up in DNR or independent or libertarian or blue, green, purple that we forget our flesh and blood and humanity.
Oh, yes. And it's so easy because we get caught up in what's happening in Washington. And let me tell you, I was in Washington when a lot of this stuff happened. And I remind people of the time when I was in Washington and they had the sniper. I remind people when I was in Washington and they had 9/11. I mean, I said, the way we live life is situational. It's situation after situation after situation after situation. And you have to control how you act within those situations and who follows you and how you want to be followed and how you want to lead. Everybody's a leader, regardless of what you think. Everybody is a leader, but it's just how you portray that. How forward do you go with that? And sometimes you just have to bring that out of people and get them to see it's not a red, it's not a blue thing, it's a purple thing, it's an everybody thing. Because as they say, when the aliens come down from the spaceships, you're an earthling.
I mean, and that's where I just think, I've enjoyed our friendship over the years. It's just, if people would just take a step back, they always, I've told you before, every time I write an article, whatever, people, I know why you said that. What reason I said that might have been because of somewhere I traveled recently or something. It has nothing to do, but people want to put you in a box. And I think, Jasper, I think it's important locally in particular. I'm just going to say it, people get real brave on their phone and keyboard warriors, to write this stuff. But you got to actually do something. Like you said, I always say leaders got to lead.
They do. They do. And Ryan, you can attest to this. Even when I lost in 16, I never said anything negative about my opponent.
Yep.
When I ran in 2020, I didn't say anything negative about my opponents with an S. When I ran this primary, I didn't say anything about my opponent that was derogatory. Now, I can't say that was what was back to me because they did, and that's okay. Because in this world, I found out something, Ryan, 2 wrongs do not make a right at all. At some point, somebody has to say, whatever. That's just because if I acknowledge it, then I'm giving you power.
I was listening to a previous show I did with a business owner, been around the block, and he was just saying, there's that big thing in life called wisdom and experience. And if we haven't learned from it to use it, because you're right, Jasper, no matter when I face this, people say something, the easy thing to do is just to fire back. Takes a lot more restraint, your pharmacy and your military days and all your experience to say, I'm not going there. Here's what I'm focused on.
Yeah. People are looking for you. They look at your character. They look at your integrity. They look at your ethos. And as a pharmacist, there's a lot on my shoulder with it because I see you at your worst. I'm the last person you need to come to after everything you've been poked, prodded, everything about you. And then you come to me. And the last thing you want to hear from me is, I don't have your drug.
Right. That's true. That's true.
So I don't. So I look at it in the context of there's been a lot put on me by society. in the field that I pick. And that is they're looking for me to be trustworthy. That's it. Am I trustworthy? Am I a man of my word? And I can say, I would rather shake your hand and look in your eye than write something on a piece of paper.
I love that. You know, it's true. I want to echo 16. We knew each other. It was the same Jasper. 20, same Jasper. 2024. And you know what I'm thinking too? My youngest daughter, I was telling you about playing. She just had to have a knee surgery, so we had to get her the medicines. And well, you know what you probably don't want when someone's in pain is you don't answer the phone, you get it wrong, you fill the wrong prescription. I'm thinking as you're talking, you screw that job up, you got a real problem. You screw the military up by leading people, you got a real problem.
Yes, you do. And I treat every case, everything that I do in Gwinnett County, Ryan, I treat it like a prescription. I look for all the rights that are in what I'm doing. Because when I finally fill it, and in this context, make the decision, I can't take it back.
Mm-hmm.
It's out there, it's done. You know, it's done. So I have to make sure that whatever I have done, prepare myself for that piece, that I've done the research, I've asked the right people, I've brought in the right experts. So, and I have the right name so that when I do fill this prescription and hand it to you, it is the right drug or the right choice based on the evidence that I had before me. Now, will I get it right all the time? You don't have a choice as a pharmacist. There's no getting it wrong. Just like as a pilot, you don't have a choice of, well, I won't do this landing good this time. I'll do it next time.
Try to get it better next. No. No, but it's true. I mean, you know, as I sit there and every time we get a chance to talk, I think of your unique background, experience, and wisdom. I mean, honestly, when you just take the stuff you've done over your career before even now, there's not a lot of room for error. I mean, you know, where you've spent your career, meaning you've got to, I'm thinking from your point of view, you've got to carefully, like you said, calculate on the best of your ability what's in front of you and make the best decision for all.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I would give doses of radioactive isotopes to the patients, I mean, it wasn't no gray area. I mean, I had to understand their kilogram weight, their condition, how they process their food, how they process their medication. And I had to make sure that all of that coincides with the radioactive drug that I'm injecting in them. So you don't get a second chance to do that. It's the last thing you want. A joke on the radio pharmacist was the last thing you want to hear in a radio pharmacy is, "Uh-oh."
That's true, man. I mean, you know, and you know, but the thing is, use that. You've had your own business. You've been in the military service. You know, working with different leaders and parties. You've moved. You lived all over the world. You lived in different states. You've had leadership positions, and then you got elected into one of the craziest moments of elected officials we'll probably see in our lifetime. And then have fought forward, and it's just. You don't have to do this. I mean, you don't have to do this. You know, you could say, I don't want to do it, but tell us why you want to do this. I mean, you know, you take a lot of shots, but you do it because what?
You know what? I do it for the people. I said to myself, if I can serve my country 25 years, if I can serve the state of Florida, where my parents are from, for 5 years, and I moved to Georgia, to Gwinnett County, then because of I'm a servant leader, then you know what? That's my evolution. I have to serve where I live. I'm compelled. You know, it's something about servitude that pushes me forward because see, everybody can't be a leader. You got to understand when that incident happened over in the county next to us, and that individual went on that rampage and did that horrible thing that he did. First thing I was thinking about was the safety of our schools, of our kids. And I was on the phone with our chief of police being reassured that that foolishness that was going around on TikTok about, oh, Gwinnett's going to get shot up on Monday, that would get squashed. They found those knuckleheads. It was okay. But the point was, I was leaning forward in the foxhole because Ryan, it's my watch. I can't point to anyone else if something were to happen to one of our children. It's on my watch, even though it was at their school. It's my watch, and I take that seriously.
I love to hear that because I was traveling when that went down, and that's I'm getting into specifics because I don't want to give any more people ideas in today's world with the social media, but we know what we're talking about, um, and that's what people want to hear. I mean, it's 20 minutes from here. What are we doing about it? And I love what you're saying. You were already looking at, what's real, what's not, what do we got our hand on?
Yeah, man. Let me tell you, we're prepared. We have in all of our precincts, we have behavioral health units that have two professionals, one law enforcement and the other one is clinician. And they're out and about. And guess what, Ryan? They're connected to the school counselors. So we're connected. The county is connected. I mean, when we hear little Johnny saying he wants to do something crazy and it's in precinct 6, our folks are on it. They're talking to little Johnny. Our schools are ready. Our principals are intact. I mean, we don't have a second chance to get it right, Ryan. We have to do it right the first time. And we take it very seriously. And some people, oh, you're going against my rights, going against my this. No, you know what? So what? You're still going to do it because that's what brings me, Ryan. That's what makes me want to do it, is that we have good people in our service industry here in Gwinnett County. We have the best law enforcement, the best EMS, the best teachers. I mean, and when you're the best of the best, you fall hard. So you got to make sure you keep them up with training, salaries, with opportunities. Keep those things flowing into your service people. And what they do, it energizes them. It's like their pie, their spinach. I know I dated myself when
No,
I said that.
yeah, I felt
But
it.
those,
That means you've been in the gym, folks. Little spinach. I got it. I was enjoying that. I got
but
you.
It just says that, Gwinnett County, we have a number of servant leaders. You're a servant leader. Look at what you do
Thank
for
you.
this county. I mean, knowing you as long, I mean, we started first talking like in 2015
I know.
when I was reading a thing, and it's like, wow, you impressed me with this is what you're doing for our county, and people actually pay attention.
Thank you.
And I didn't think they would. And wow, it's like it did something in me. It sparked something in me that says, I'm not going to give up on my county. I'm not going to just be a resident, and just use the byways and the highways. I want to be a part of what makes this county great. And that's people like yourself and others who get out there every day. You put yourself on the line, you put your families on the line, and you do the right thing. You get it out to people. And that is nothing short of just being a hero to me.
Well, thank you, Jasper. That means a lot. And, and that's where I think I would say, for me, you and I have this loyalty. And it doesn't mean if we go down you and I go to the voting precinct, we're going to agree on everything. Who cares? I mean, don't we have a lot more in common than we, and that's not a message just for Gwinnett or District 3. That's a message for America. I mean, it's like, can't we agree to disagree? Was it disagree to disagree agreeably at times?
I don't know. It's, having been to several disasters, and the latest one I went to is I went to Lahuna fires in Maui and saw the devastation that was there. And I said to myself, how could I prevent this from happening in Gwinnett County? If a tornado came or if a fire occurred, how could I help prevent this in Gwinnett County? Well, we have the MRC. We have organizations within Gwinnett County that are leaning forward in the foxhole to assist our emergency preparedness folks to basically evac and aid Gwinnetians. Most Gwinnetians don't even know that, but it's there, and they train, and they love it. We have more volunteerism in Gwinnett County than anywhere else in the Southeast. Let me tell you, the supplement that we have with our great volunteers that helps our budget, you just would not believe it. it is just phenomenal. It makes you, Ryan, it makes you want to lead here.
Mm. Well, Jasper, honestly, I have over whatever 18, 20 years just seen so many amazing things, stories, ideas, organizations, whatever, that are doing all these things. And I guess, sometimes you get a front row to it, but honestly, it's just not, it's not covered a whole lot because it's a lot
No,
easier to talk about what's not right.
it is. It is.
I
And
mean,
sometimes what I do, when I find that person that wants to talk about it's not right, you know what I suggest to them? I say, you know what? You know what you should read? You should read the Federalist Papers. They're like, huh?
yeah,
I'm like, you don't know? You're a patriot, right? Yeah. Well, you need to read the Federalist Papers. What was that? Well, I said, well, let me give you in a nutshell. It was put out basically by Madison, Hamilton, and Jay, and it was to preserve our democracy. I said it was to preserve the Union. It was to reconcile our differences, and it was to promote common welfare. I said, isn't that what the United States is about? Isn't that what Gwinnett County is about? Preserving our county, reconciling our differences, and then promoting the common welfare of everyone in Gwinnett County. That's the Federalist. That is what we were founded, 1778. That was what it was. Oh, you're kind of too smart for me. I'm like,
right.
no, I'm just telling you, there are documents out there that show you the fundamentals of who we are, and why we should go forward.
And I think so many people, I guess, just my thoughts, so many people get caught up on one issue of one party, of one thing, and they don't look at everything. So you're trained as a pharmacist. I mean, every ingredient, everything in a military thing has to work seamlessly.
Yes.
And if you just get caught up and go, well, here's the one thing I'm passionate about, and I don't like all that other stuff. That nothing in life is, I mean, nothing in life's 100-0. I mean, no relationship.
No.
And I know I'm getting a little passionate, but I'm tired of hearing about people just saying, oh, I didn't know where. I mean, well, then, there's a thing called the internet.
Right. Really. And it's an excuse, I think, that people use a lot. And I think more and more we, people like yourself who have what you do, myself out there talking to constituents and others that are there, we need to start reminding people of their civic duty.
100%.
We just have to.
So tell people going into, I guess I'm getting lost on dates, but we'll get it. We got November 5th. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, about 7.5,
and
8
then
weeks,
get
something like that.
I get early voting starting to begin, but if you're giving kind of people as a walk away, they don't really know what the heck's going on. They don't know about District 3. You got a lot of people who moved here.
Yeah.
Preface this by saying, just by teaching some classes, I'm teaching 20% of our population, Gen Z, who are the ones that wouldn't understand our Popeye joke. They didn't vote. They didn't vote last time. They did not
No, they
vote last
didn't.
time. And
No, they
so
didn't.
let's kind of capture the essence of, I've tried to do a little bit of Jasper and, why we want people to come out and what you want them to hear. So they're not just lumping everybody together, right? And thinking through what they're trying to do.
I had 2 town halls. One was on fentanyl. That was excellent. And then my second one was on suffering and silence. It's mental health. Another excellent thing. And I'm going to have a third one coming up where I'm going to invite our youth to come in, and we're going to talk about the barriers and the parallels that they face with mental health and drugs. I want to bring them all together because my last one, I want it to be covered. We have a problem in Gwinnett County. It is a drug called fentanyl. It is overdoses. We do have a mental health crisis. It is something with 1 million people you're going to have. So I invite people to, you need to start coming to our town halls and stuff and listening to what their elected officials are saying. I have 2 town halls coming up, one on the 23rd of September in Decula, and the other one's on the 30th in Snellville. And they will go over everything about District 3. But I also will put it on social media. I would put it out on my newsletter, and I put it out through other mediums because I want people to know, if you don't know about what's going on in your district, if you don't know about what's going on in your county, then what are you doing? And with the young people, I want them to know there's money available. There's entrepreneurship opportunities out there. There are residencies, there are apprenticeships. There are things out there that if you show interest in, business will show interest. And then we can collaborate at that level. But we need to stop this sitting on the sidelines, Monday morning quarterbacking. And, you know, I've already got enough of that with my Cowboys losing. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh, come on. Come on, what's up with that?
Say.
We need to vote. That surprised me. Well, we won't say the date we're recording, but we got a big game tonight for my team. We'll see who shows up, okay? But yeah, no, it's and I think Jasper, because we kind of come to an end, you know, you're a strong leader, family man. I remember the last time we got together. What was the thing? You know, you got to like more things on Facebook. You know, there's a lot of. I'm kidding. Yeah, remember you were. You know what? At the end of the day, I want to give the endorsement of it. You know, anything in life, if you're not authentic, if you're not a servant leader, people can see through that. And I want to say what I've seen in you is consistency. You know, in 16, like we talked about, well, the chips didn't fall your way. 20, they did. 20, but you've led consistently, authentically, and ethically. And I've never seen you in a minute in any place, in person, online, and interviews where you've not been consistent in yourself. And that is what I love, because you know what? I could see what you did in the military or pharmacy. I'll follow a guy like that, because I need my leader not to be perfect. I need my leader to stand for something.
Oh yeah, well, you know, the talk now is I don't show up. I'm like, okay. I mean, if you got to pick something, I don't show up. But yet, if you go on Facebook posts and everything, I'm at church every Sunday, 2 or 3 churches every Sunday. I'm at everybody's event. I'm out there where the people are. I may not be where most people want me to be, but I'm places where I need to be.
Yep.
And that's what matters to me, is where I need to be.
Well, I'll just say, you know, like you were saying, I get invited to a lot of things. It's impossible to be everywhere at every time and whatever. And it doesn't mean you don't appreciate it. It's just
right.
You know, you still, unless you got a way to get around it. I haven't figured it out. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's all we got.
That's it. And you get a call. You get a call and a text all 24 hours.
You do. Always.
You know, but you know what though? Ryan, that's my high, man. I love it. You know, give me more, you know, I love it.
No, I can see it. And I think as we kind of come to a close, I think it's important for me to, just because this is what's going through my mind. Yes, we've got the federal, and you've got state, and you've got local, whatever. We all live in the local, wherever we live. And now, you know, we're talking about District 3 in Gwinnett. But if all we're going to do is just take up the main headlines and just look at that as everything from Washington down, is that's what it is. That in my independent thinking, and I'm a pretty educated guy myself, that's not, you're not thinking independently. No,
what you're doing is you're following suggestion of someone else.
Yes.
You know, and I tell people all the time that voting is not a right. It's actually a responsibility. You have to stay engaged after election day, not just electing someone. You have to stay involved after election day, and you have to follow the actions of us elected officials, and then you have to hold us accountable. But when I ask you, did you vote, and you say no, then I say next.
Yeah, that's right.
I just can't. I'm sorry. You didn't take the time. So you want me to do what now? Well, I have a right. Well, you did. But now you gave that up when you felt that you needed to sit it out.
Well, you know, you use the Dallas Cowboys. You know, it'd be like the Dallas Cowboys saying, you know, no, I'm serious. I'm trying to give you a good example. It's not politics. Or I'll use the Falcons. you know, if the guy wants to complain, our fan noise isn't loud enough, and they're watching on TV. Fan noise, well, it's terrible. Pittsburgh's loud, but you don't ever go to a game, and you don't ever make a difference with your. But I mean, you're mad because you're not there, and it's. I mean, that's an analogy. I mean, you know, you're complaining about it, you don't like it, but you don't go.
You don't go. No, you don't go.
And so if someone doesn't like the whole world of politics, I'm giving you sports. Sports is something most people can agree on. Like, well, if all you say, I'm never going there, well, then what do you have to complain about that it's too loud with the opposing team? Because you're not there to help the noise.
You know, now I don't get me wrong. I am 100% for the welfare of every Gwinnettian.
Sure.
Now, I may be a little facetious when I say you didn't vote. Okay, I'm not going to listen to you. No, I'm going to listen to you, but I'm going to remind you of the civic duty that you had, so that when you come out and telling me what I need to do, I'm going to push back a bit and say, no, what you should have done. Okay, now we can talk. And from this point forward, ma'am or sir, here's what I need you to do for Gwinnett County.
No, and 100%, you know, showing up and what's it called? Showing up and showing out. And but you're commissioner District 3 for all of that, you know, for all people. I am. And like I said, you know, to me, and that's what my doctorate in leadership was in. You like your pharmacy days. I've studied more on leadership than a human should have to, but I look for that consistency, the integrity, that make the best overall decision. And you know, like I said, when you show that over what we're now going 9 years of what I've seen, you know, I'm impressed, you know, and yeah, I just want to say that, and want to have a chance to talk to you, you know, going into these elections. But yeah, you know, people need to get out, need to think independently, do their homework. And you know, I'm just saying that, not just look at what somebody posted on Facebook.
Correct.
Because you know this in pharmacy, but you got to go to the primary deep. Where's the data? Not just, oh, my buddy posted. Well, I mean, okay, I could say the sky just turned red, but that doesn't mean it's right.
No. I had a gentleman the other day said, you know, he called me up, you know what? Your signs are not nowhere. I don't see your signs nowhere. I don't see your signs. I said, sir, signs don't win elections. No, come to my town hall. Talk to me. Let's have a discussion. Not talk about the signs you've not seen.
No,
come in. Let's have a discussion. Really?
Yeah, I won't even go up 100%. It's the real deep stuff that matters. It's the real deep stuff that matters. But anything, Jasper, I didn't really talk about here that you want to say as we kind of come to a close?
You know, I just want to say, first of all, thank you for what you do for our community. I really can't thank you enough. You know, more people than you imagine read your periodicals. I do.
Thank you.
For one, I do. And I know that I take that around with me when I go places, and I use it as a guide of finding out new things about the community that I may not have known. And I think that is so, it's what a society like ours needs. And I just want people to know that, you know, if you don't do anything, please research your topics, get out and vote. A person asked me, oh, I'm afraid that our integrity and everything is going to be on us. Let me tell you something, that foolishness is not happening in Gwinnett County. Yep. That's not happening. And we're not letting it come into Gwinnett County. No, we're not going there. Just not doing that.
No one has time for that stuff.
No, we don't. We're a vibrant community, and we're going to stay that way.
100%. Well, as always, my friend, we could do this for hours. We gotta do it and keep the dialogue going. But we'll be getting this show out. And folks, I'm going to kind of close this out here, Jasper.
Okay.
Got Commissioner Jasper Watkins with us of Gwinnett County, one of the biggest counties. Wow, I mean, 1.1, 1.2, who knows? First, second biggest Georgia, but then he's Commissioner District 3, probably 280,000 people. This is a good man. He's a leader. He listen to the show. If you missed it from the beginning, listen to his background, listen to his consistency, judge holistically, the whole body of work. So, Jasper, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you too, man.
All right, I'll close this out.
All
This has
right.
been another Community Connection and Special Guest Commissioner Jasper Watkins. We will see you again next time.
This has been the Community Connection Show with Ryan Sauers. Stay on the lookout for new or past shows with community leaders wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you want to see the video interview of any show, visit communityconnectionstv.com. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will see you next time.